Hello friends, welcome back to this Selenium tutorial. Till now we learned about basics of Selenium through the IDE, how to record, how to play back. We learned how to configure a Selenium project. In today's session we would be learning very simple example like how to open a browser, specifically how to open a Firefox browser and close it. But the difference is we won't be using the Selenium IDE today. All the operations we would be performing through the Java code on the Eclipse editor. So let's start doing that. So as you can see, I have the Eclipse open and I have created one Java project over here called Selenium Tuts. You can see it on the left hand side corner of your screen. Now I have already configured this Selenium Tuts project with the Selenium WebDriver jar files. So I would be assuming that you have also configured your Java project with the Selenium WebDriver jar files. If you do not remember how to do that, please refer to my previous tutorial where I have shown like how to create a Java project and how to configure that Java project with the Selenium WebDriver jar files. Please refer that project. Once you know how to do that, you could just start with these examples which we would be taking from today. So going forward, I would be assuming that you know how to configure and you have already configured this Java project. So let's start with today's example, which is we'll be launching the Mozilla Firefox browser, going to google.com and then closing it through Java code. So we'll start. So first of all, I would create a class within this source folder. This source folder gets created by default whenever we create a Java project basically. So within this source folder, I would right click, select new class. When I click over here, a new window would open. It would ask for a class name. I would say test1. I would select this option, public static void main string args. Basically whenever I select this option, by default within my class a main method would be created. You would just see that when I click this finish button, the class would get loaded with a default main method. It will take a few seconds to load the class. So the class is loaded and it has this default main method. So now one of the principles of Java is the execution of a Java program always starts from the main method. So whatever I would be writing within this main method, the execution would begin from there. Here you could see some comments on line number 6. Those are unwanted. You could directly delete them. Though harmless, though if you keep them as it is, they won't be affecting our program, but I do not require, so I directly delete that. So whatever programming I need to do, I would start it from this main method here. So what is our intention? We need to open the Firefox browser. Now we have included the WebDriver jar files. Now with the help of these WebDriver classes and objects, we would be able to open the Firefox browser and perform some actions on the Firefox browser. So how to do that? Let's start doing that. So first step is we need to create an object of a WebDriver class, and here it is shown how to do that. So I would be typing over here WebDriver. This WebDriver is the class and driver is the object. Now this driver, this could be any name. I have selected the name as driver. You could select any name, but this driver seems to be logical and you should always name your variables and objects with some logical name. So I've selected a logical name driver for my class object WebDriver, and my intention is to open a Firefox driver. The syntax for opening a Firefox driver is as I'll type equal to then new Firefox driver. So I have created an object of Firefox driver. Now when this line would get executed, the Firefox driver would get launched. Now I could see these red marks, like red marks indicates error. Now there is some error on this line number 6. So what I'll do, I'll just hover my mouse to this line number 6, and Eclipse is such a beautiful tool that by default it will give me the suggestion how I could remove this error. So if I see the first option, import WebDriver, this file has not been imported explicitly in this class, because of which this error is showing. So when I just click over there, if you would see line number 1, this Selenium WebDriver file has been included, and the red mark which was there on the WebDriver class has now vanished. So we have removed this error, but I could see another error on Firefox driver. So I'll again hover my mouse over there. Eclipse would help me. It gives me a fix called import Firefox driver. I click here to import this file, and as you can see on line number 2, this file has been included, firefox.firefox driver, and the error, I can no longer see the error. So we have successfully removed the error. Now I will show you what are the capabilities of this driver object. When I type driver and type dot after that, a list of methods would be displayed which the driver could invoke. It is just loading. As you can see this circle mark over there, all the methods which are there within the driver would load in few seconds. As you can see on the screen, the methods are loaded. So these are, there are number of lots of methods which we would be covering, many methods we would be covering in our subsequent tutorials, but these are the scope. Like with the help of this driver object, a number of things could be done. You could close the browser, you could get the current URL, you could get the title of the page. We'll be covering these in separate tutorials, but the focus of this tutorial is we need to open the Firefox browser. Now the method to open the Firefox browser is get. So what I'll do is driver dot get, and within brackets I would pass the URL which I need to open. In my case it is google.com, so I would directly type them. So my first line, the line number 9, when my code would be executed, when line number 9 would be executed, the Firefox browser would launch. When line number 10 would be executed, it would navigate to google.com. Now my final step, I need to close this google.com browser. I'm not performing any action. This is a very simple basic example which I am taking. I'm just opening google.com and I'm just closing the browser. To close the browser, I do a driver dot, I would just select the first option, close, press enter, and my code is ready. I would now save this by pressing Ctrl S, and my code is now ready to execute. When I execute this, the Firefox browser should launch, it should go to google.com, and then finally the script should close the browser. So let's see whether the code works as expected. To execute this code, what I'll do is I'll click anywhere on the screen, I'll right click anywhere on the screen, go to run as, select Java application. So the script would execute and it would launch seconds. It is launching in the browser. So as you can see on the screen, the script has launched the Firefox browser. In few seconds it would connect to google.com. You would be able to see it on your screens. As you can see on the top left hand corner, it is connecting to google.com. The page would load in a few seconds, and finally the script would close this browser because we have given the command driver.quit, driver.close. So the script would close this browser once it has been loaded. So you can see the script has automatically closed, which means we have successfully written this class file where we are opening the browser, going to google.com, and then closing it. This is a very simple example. In my subsequent tutorials I would be covering more complex examples where we would be entering something on the browser. In fact, in this example we just opened the Firefox browser. I would show you how you write the code to open a Google Chrome browser. That is also possible. That is the strength of Selenium. You could execute your scripts on multiple browsers. I would be covering in the next tutorials. Guys, thanks for joining. Do join me in my next tutorials. See you soon. Bye bye.